Your dog has never watched a human fire a gun, never seen a wolf get shot, never watched a deer drop mid-run. And yet a stranger raises his voice out front, and something old flickers behind her eyes before she even barks. People like to say animals just know who's dangerous. That's not quite true. What's actually happening starts with a label scientists gave one particular animal: the super predator. Once you understand what that label really means, you won't watch a bird go quiet in a tree the same way again. In 2015, a researcher named Chris Darramont pulled together data from more than 300 studies on human hunting and fishing around the world, and lined it up against how often other predators kill each other. The numbers were rough. Humans were killing large land carnivores, wolves, bears, big cats, at roughly 9 times the rate those same animals kill one another. In the ocean, humans were pulling adult fish out of the water at about 14 times the rate other marine predators do. 9 times, 14 times. Not close, not comparable, an entirely different category. For most of the planet's history, predator behavior was something prey could actually study and predict. A rhythm, a hunting season, a hunger cycle with limits. Humans broke that. There's a detail that makes it worse, too. Most predators go after the weak, the old, the sick, the young, the ones too slow to keep up with the herd. Wolves do it, lions do it, sharks do it. Humans, historically, didn't bother sorting. We hunted the biggest, strongest, healthiest animals in a population, on purpose, because those were the ones worth the most meat, or the best trophy. It's the difference between a burglar who only robs empty houses and one who specifically targets the house with the newest car parked outside. Deer go quiet at the smell of us. Foxes shift their whole schedule to the middle of the night. Elephants alter their path around a single unfamiliar scent. None of that is superstition. It's bookkeeping, done by animals that have learned exactly which pattern doesn't behave like every other predator on the landscape. Except here's a wrinkle that should bother you a little. A huge number of the animals showing this fear have never personally been hunted by anyone. Deer inside protected national parks, animals born decades after hunting stopped in a given area, still freeze, still bolt, still treat a human voice like a 5-alarm event. If direct experience explained all of it, that fear should have faded generations ago. It hasn't. Wolves reintroduced to Yellowstone decades after the last wolf hunt in the park still give popular hiking trails a wide berth, generation after generation, as if the lesson got passed down rather than personally learned. Ecologists have a term for what's actually going on, and it's a good one: the landscape of fear. It doesn't mean an animal is scared all the time. It means fear gets baked into the map itself, the way a pothole gets baked into a road you drive every day, so you avoid that lane automatically, without ever consciously thinking about the pothole at all. A trail becomes a place deer only cross at dawn. A stream becomes a place foxes only drink from after midnight. Nobody has to be actively hunting there today. The possibility alone is enough to rewrite the map, and the map, once rewritten, tends to stay that way for a very long time. A researcher named Justine Smith took this further in 2017, testing it directly on one of the boldest predators in North America, the mountain lion. She and her team at UC Santa Cruz set up speakers near real mountain lion kills and played 2 kinds of sound. Sometimes frogs, sometimes ordinary human conversation. Nothing aggressive, just people chatting. When the mountain lions heard human voices, they fled the kill far more often, and when they did come back, their feeding time dropped by more than half. That wasn't a fluke at one feeding site either. The same pattern showed up again and again across dozens of separate kills, in different valleys, with different lions. An animal that can kill a full-grown deer with its own body walked away from a meal it had already caught because a voice came out of a box. Here's where science actually hits a wall, though. Researchers can measure the fleeing, the avoidance, the dropped feeding time, down to the second. What they can't fully settle is what's happening on the inside, whether that's a conscious judgment an animal is making, something closer to a gut instinct with no real thought behind it, or some blurry mixture of both that doesn't map cleanly onto either word. Fear, in animals, resists a tidy definition. What researchers do largely agree on is that this fear isn't just built in at birth, and it isn't purely learned from scratch either. It's both, working together. Researchers at the University of Washington trapped a handful of wild crows while wearing a specific rubber mask, then let them go and walked around campus in that same mask for years afterward. The crows scolded the mask on site every single time, including birds that hadn't even been born when the original trapping happened. Crows can recognize individual human faces, and they'll pass a warning about one specific dangerous face to other crows who never even met that person. Elephants in Kenya have been shown to tell the difference between groups of people by scent and clothing alone, reacting with more alarm toward the group historically more likely to spear them. Nobody taught that elephant a lesson in a classroom. The information moved anyway, animal to animal, generation to generation, faster than genetics alone could carry it. Which finally explains that phrase from the start, super predator. Not because humans are the strongest or the fastest or the best armed by nature, because we broke every rule prey animals had learned to predict. We hunt in daylight and at night. We hunt in groups and alone. We use tools instead of teeth. We remember yesterday's hunt and improve on it tomorrow. A lion is dangerous, but a lion is at least consistent. We never were. Your dog isn't reading your intentions when a stranger's voice makes her tense. She's running a calculation older than dogs themselves, built from a few 100,000 years of every species on Earth learning the same uncomfortable lesson about us. A few years later, in 2019, a team of ecologists, including researcher Justin Sirachi, pushed the experiment even further. Instead of testing one predator, they broadcast recordings of human voices across a whole stretch of wilderness and tracked what happened to the entire community living there. Big carnivores avoided the areas outright, cutting their use of the riskiest stretches by a wide margin. Foxes and raccoons went quieter, harder to detect, feeding less. And several steps down the food chain, small mammals that usually spend their lives hiding from those same foxes and raccoons actually came out and fed more, because the animals that normally threatened them had pulled back first. Nobody touched a single animal in that experiment. A recording of a human voice was enough to rearrange who ate, who hid, and who felt safe enough to come out, all the way down the chain. Zoom out, and that's the real, uncomfortable scale of this. Humans don't need to kill an animal to change its whole life. A hiking trail gets popular, and deer start crossing at 4 in the morning instead of dusk. A campsite goes up, and one species avoids the area while another learns to raid what's left behind. A ski resort opens on a mountainside, and elk quietly move their calving grounds to steeper, less convenient terrain, generation after generation, long after anyone remembers why. We reorganize entire landscapes just by walking through them, without lifting a weapon, most of the time without even noticing we're doing it. This is the part that stings a little if you actually sit with it. Most of us don't feel dangerous. We hike with headphones in. We stop to take pictures of deer. We think of ourselves as visitors, quietly passing through someone else's home. But wildlife doesn't read intentions. It reads patterns. And the pattern our species left behind, going back further than any of us individually can account for, has genuinely earned this reaction. A fox doesn't know you only came for a walk. It just knows the pattern called human hasn't always ended well, and it has no way of checking your intentions before deciding whether to run. So next time your dog tenses at a stranger's voice, or a bird outside goes quiet the second you step onto the porch, remember there's nothing mystical happening. It's not a sixth sense. It's a few 100,000 years of hard-earned caution, quietly running its calculation again, the same way it always has, long before either of you were born.